everyone. My name is Dr. Janani Krishnaswami, and I'm here to answer your questions about being a doctor. You all sent in so many great questions about what it takes to work in this field, and I'm excited to answer some of these questions for you. So let's get started. How do you stand out from others to get into med school? This is a great question because I have sat on many different admissions committees and I've looked at a lot of different applications. And one thing I will tell you is that after a while, you really aren't looking for the student that stands out. You're looking for the student that displays actually a common theme, which is passion. Passion is what is going to get you through all of the hard times in medical school. Passion is what's going to get you through those times where you want to give up or quit or doubt yourself or feel like you're not getting it. It's that inspiration and passion that will make sure that you stay true to your calling of being a doctor. So in order to stand out in that way, from the sea of applicants to show that you're actually passionate, it's very simple. When you actually do some self-reflection and you determine what it is that really makes you want to practice medicine, you answer that question, and it's a very simple question. It doesn't have to be a fancy answer, and really, there aren't a lot of answers to that question. It's either making a difference or variations on the theme of making a difference, or because you had a personal experience that's really cemented your understanding of medicine, because you love, research, education. There's lots of different variations on the theme, and nobody can choose your theme for you. You have to find that theme. When you find that theme for yourself after doing some self-reflection, and you've really chosen your activities, extracurriculars, classes, around that theme, and you've put in effort, because it's one thing to be passionate, but you also have to demonstrate that you can do the grunt work and the hard work that's needed to become a doctor. What helped you get into med school the most? I don't actually know, but I have a few ideas. So I followed my passion when I was in college and in all my life. And I was very, very interested in liberal arts. I loved writing. I loved learning languages. I was not really considering being a doctor when I was in college. And I just wanted to take classes that interested me. Now, I am a professed nerd, so I really truly loved things like mathematics and science, but I also loved liberal arts, and so I chose my majors around things that I really enjoyed. So I really liked traveling. I traveled a lot as a kid, so I studied international studies. My majors were international studies, public policy, and economics. And those were all things I was actually very interested in. They didn't feel like a chore. I also minored, just because I loved classes. I really got such a kick out of learning, but I also minored in mathematics and biological sciences. It was during the process where I was taking these classes that I took physiology, and I loved learning about the human body and how the human body functioned. And that passion, little seed, stayed in me. When I graduated college, I didn't actually go into med school, nor did I take the MCAT. I worked in a totally different field for a while before that little seed that had been planted with my physiology course came alive, and I just kept thinking to myself, I really want to be in this field where I get to think about the physiology of the human body on a daily basis. Like, I want to be able to combine that with service and helping people and talking to people and just feeling like I am making a difference. So I actually went back and took the requisite courses. And so this was definitely a time where there was a lot of uncertainty and there was a lot of fear because I had a good paying job and I was quitting it to just go back, and what if I didn't get into school? What if it wasn't interesting? So these thoughts did cross my mind, but I didn't follow that because I knew my passion about learning and working with people was more important. So when I took the MCAT and I interviewed at the school I went to, I was told that my application was very impressive, and I didn't have a single traditional thing about my application. Like, I was not a biochemistry major. I didn't even take biochemistry. I didn't have like all the typical pre-med clubs, and I hadn't, shadowed a bunch of doctors. I hadn't done research in medical fields and things like that. I had followed my passions of, doing service and, music and dance, and I had done things like traveling and economics and initiatives in those fields. And I was told that that was an impressive aspect because people knew that when I was applying at that time, it was a genuine passion, and it wasn't just because it was a cookie cutter thing and the logical next step. So perhaps that helped me get into medical school, but let's be honest, I think a lot of the element of getting into medical school, a big part of that is knowing what your passion is, identifying it, but also having that be in the greater context of some luck. Because finding the right medical school, getting the right resource to study, this was before UWorld, so I had to study on my own. There's a lot of elements that just line up that I think also helped me. But in the overall scheme of things, I think that I just followed what my heart was telling me, and I think that really helped me look better on the application, even though that's not what I was intending. That's all the time we have for questions. I hope this was helpful. Everybody at UWorld wishes you all the best in your future careers, and good luck.